Legend of Zelda is one of the most iconic video game franchises that has ever existed. Ever since its beginnings on the NES, these games have made people's imaginations run wild. There's something magical about that call of adventure, just one guy against the world. Most of these games follow a fairly similar format. Zelda's been attacked by Ganon and his minions, and Link's got to stop him and save her. Well, maybe not that one. There's some nuance here and there, but that's the gist of it. One game stands out in my mind as being something completely different. Majora's Mask. This game follows Link on a much deeper and darker quest where he has to journey to a doomed world and face his worst enemy yet. Time. All joking aside, this game does have a heavy focus on time, which serves as a macabre reminder of the mortality of this world and its inhabitants. Majora's Mask doesn't even take place in Hyrule. Instead, Link finds himself in the unfamiliar world of Termina after being robbed by the Skull Kid wearing Majora's Mask. This mask was used by an ancient people and is filled with evil. This causes the Skull Kid to act like a general dick everywhere he goes. He curses great fairies, attacks elderly women, poisons swamps. What an ass. But the most omnipresent problem he caused is having put the moon on a collision course with the world, and you only have 3 days to stop it. Making things worse is that he's also put a curse on you, turning you into a Deku Scrub immediately. The only way that this game is possible is by getting the Ocarina of Time back and learning the Song of Time, which lets you go back to the first day and save. Once you have the ability to turn back time, you'll need help from one of the creepiest guys in the Zelda universe, the Happy Mask Salesman. He teaches you the Song of Healing, which heals evil magic and troubled spirits by turning them into masks. Since he basically confirms he's the same salesman from Hyrule's Happy Mask Shop, it kind of implies he's just been wandering around the world, turning people into masks for profit. Or amusement. Yeah, he's a fucked up guy, and he wears their faces on his back like Lisa Trevor, that guy from Devilman. The Song of Healing both gives life to some, and also provides the finality of death to many others. Maybe that's why Mario didn't get a proper sequel on the N64. Regardless of how creepy the masked salesman is, your real enemy is the Skull Kid. He steals your ocarina and Epona right off the bat, then lures you into the dark world of Termina. One of the first things you see when you enter this world is a corrupted Triforce, letting you know how unholy this land is. Or it's a fallout shelter, I don't know. The game also implies that the Skull Kid here is the same one you teach Seria's song to and sell the Skull Mask in Ocarina of Time. That means this guy must really know his way in and out of Termina. Andrew's grandmother tells you a story about an imp and 4 giants, and it kind of sounds like it's about the same Skull Kid. Then you go and you talk to the giants, and they kind of suggest the same thing. It really sounds like we're getting way too involved in their personal business. Maybe the storybook version you get told happened a long time ago, and then he had to run away to Hyrule so he didn't get his ass kicked by the giants, and that's why you run into him in Ocarina of Time. Then Ganondorf kind of turned Hyrule into a shithole, so then he got the fuck out of Dodge again, but then he came back to Termina for Majora's Mask, and then that ended, so then he went back to Hyrule again, and you run into him as an adult. Whatever the case may be, the Skull Kid takes a back seat for the meat of the game. He just hangs out at the clock tower waiting for the end of the world. Like you do. Pretty soon you'll find that the real focus of the game is Link's interaction with Termina's ill-fated residents. With the great lengths you have to go to help some of these people out, it's easy to get invested in some of the characters' lives. This is where Majora's Mask shines, but more on that later. Something you have to learn to master is time and inventory management. Because the clock is always ticking towards Armageddon, and Link can't bring rupees and other superfluous items with him back in time, you need to have a plan at the beginning of each cycle and hold yourself to it. The Scarecrows will teach you some songs that you can use to slow down time or skip ahead the next half of a day. You should make it a habit to climb up here to get this treasure chest in East Clock Town too. It's 100 rupees and you get it for free every cycle. There's another one back here in the Bomber's hideout too. I'm pretty sure this bank guy is a Time Lord. He can recognize you through your masks and remembers how much money you gave him even after reversing time. He's come a long way from slumming it for fish on the streets. One thing that I find annoying is that you have to reteach the Scarecrows a song every time you go back to day 1. They aren't used very often, so it just results in a pointless trip back to Clocktown when you need one. Plus, most of the time they don't even come up in very useful places. Like here, I can call a Scarecrow, or I could just hookshot through this perfectly good tree right next to him. What the fuck's the point? I also feel like the magic beans would have been more useful if they had stayed when you reset time. If only we could slime these beans with his, special ink. That would have made a few places more convenient, like by the Astral Observatory, but the convenience is completely lost if you have to make a trip every time just to reopen the path. Often they only give you a handful of rupees, which is offset by the cost of the beans, and your time invested in getting it just to turn a small profit. Once you're done with all the achievements you think you can accomplish in a cycle, you're ready to save. You can play the Song of Time to return to day 1. There's also a quick save feature which always mystified me when this game was new. The in-game description is pretty bad, and it leaves you with this impression like your data might vanish. But once you understand what it's doing, it really works pretty well. If you started playing and something comes up in your real life and you have to walk away, you don't have to go back to day one and lose any progress. You just go to Announce Statue and quick save. When you boot it back up, you'll just pick up from where you left off, as though you'd never left the game. If you make a little bit more progress and you need to leave again, just remember to quick save again before you turn it off. And when you're ready to go back to day one, just play the Song of Time like normal, and you'll permanently save your progress. Came in pretty handy for me in the beach area. Just remember that when you turn your game back on, that quick save point is gone, and you won't have any trouble. Majora's Mask made some great improvements from Ocarina of Time that can help you navigate the world. Instead of needing to know several different songs to warp to locations, you only need to know one. The Song of Soaring opens up a map and lets you choose where to go. Much simpler system. To make managing your schedule easier, you can get the Bomber's Notebook. It shows you when you met certain people and gives you a timeline for important events. Many of the people you meet can help you get heart pieces, empty bottles, and, of course, masks. Many of these masks serve a specific purpose that may only be helpful once, but others are critically important. The Bunny Hood is probably the best mask in the game. It lets you run faster everywhere you go, and with how important it is to make appointments on time, this can really help. The masks you'll use the most are the transformation masks that can turn Link into a Deku Scrub, a Goron, and a Zora. Each form has its own strengths and weaknesses. Goron Link can roll in a ball and move stupid fast. He can also move heavy objects. His ground pound can kill nearby enemies, kind of like Link's spin attack. I like that when you upgrade Link's spin, it will do the stronger attack when you use the quick spin. This feels way stronger than in Ocarina of Time. Zora Link can swim super fast in water and has a really strong electric attack, but it uses a lot of magic. Even though we don't have a boomerang, you can fire Zora Link's fins, which will behave in very much the same way. It'll take a little bit of practice at first, but pretty soon you'll have the controls mastered, and damn does it feel good to jump right out of the water onto a platform. I can't believe I got this jump on my first try. I remember bashing my head over and over when I was a teenager. Deku Link can dive down into these flowers and then glide from place to place. This skill is pretty handy, but I wish you could upgrade how far he could glide for. The only time I found this super annoying is in the Snowhead Temple. You have to glide down forever to get this stray fairy. This really couldn't have gone any faster. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Guess I can check my phone and my email. Shit, while I'm at it, may as well order a pizza. The skill's a little hard to use at first. Shit! These platforms are made of fucking ice! But like with most things, practice makes perfect. Three main transformation masks are the real workhorses for most of the puzzles. Part of what gives this game its dark ambiance is that each of them comes from the death of a character in the game. The Deku mask most likely comes from the death of this butler's son, the Goron mask from the ghost of a fallen Goron hero, and you actually watch Mikau, the Zoran guitarist, die right in front of you. Part of Link's mission is to bring peace to these characters' souls. This is especially true with Goron and Zora Link, where people recognize you by name. You can help Darmani by restoring his reputation as a hero, and you can help Mikau by, trying to shack up with his special lady.
She's not my special lady, she's my fucking lady friend. I'm just helping her conceive, man.
Each of Link's forms also have their weaknesses. Goron Link sinks in water. I guess Zora Blood evolved to run on high-octane gas. And Deku Link? Well, dogs really don't fucking like him. Goron Link has the ability to carry powder kegs, giant bombs that can clear large obstacles. Before you can carry them wherever you want, you have to demonstrate your proficiency before you'll get a permit. You just have to carry it over to the racetrack. It's right up this hill. Oh, fuck, I dropped it. Wait, what? Oh, it's just a day change. At least I'm already here. Just gonna make it up these hills and... The fuck? Where's my bomb? You win this round, game. You're gonna need a powder keg to clear out this rock outside of Romani's ranch, something you have to do to recover Epona. Getting your horseback will allow you to jump fences and opens up a couple of areas in the game. Due to Termina Field being smaller than Hyrule Field, Epona is slightly less important for traveling in Majora's Mask, but hey, she is fucking immortal. How about you? Epona the Thunder Horse can never die!
You dare to challenge the horse of the gods? Clear the path, fool. Together we will take this day and claim the battlefield as our own. Verily they can feel that we only bleed fear into the hearts of our enemies.
Opening up Romani's Ranch on the first day also gives you one of the best side stories in the game. If you just come here on day 3, you'll notice Romani looks pretty fucked up, but when you get here on day one, you find out why. One word: aliens. These guys are really committed to cattle mutilation and human probing, since they're willing to sacrifice a small army to Link running around like Rambo 2. This mission also opens up another side quest with Termina. She plays an interesting role in what is no doubt the largest subplot in Majora's Mask, reuniting Anju with her lover Kafei. The developers wanted you to know this subplot was important. Every cycle, the first thing you see is Kafei mailing this letter while wearing the Keaton mask. It's one of the most memorable masks from Ocarina of Time, and when you meet Anju the innkeeper, she's the alternate doppelganger of the chicken lady from Ocarina of Time, so you know you're going to be interested. Since Kafei's gone missing, his mother hires you as a private detective to try and find him.
I'm a Brother Seamus! Brother Seamus? Like an Irish monk?
Turns into a complex story involving the Skull Kid's curse, possible love triangle between Anju, Kafei, and Termina, and the imminent destruction of the world as we know it. So many of the world's characters are involved in this quest, it's sure to leave an imprint on your mind. Considering I'm in my 30s and people still seem to think I'm a teenager, I can definitely sympathize with Kafei. When I look at you, I just see a child. Story of my life. For all of your efforts that stretch across the whole game to reunite these two, you'll only be reminded of the dark reality looming overhead. Even though you brought these two back together, you didn't remove his curse, and the world's still going to end anyways. There's a level of melancholy this game rides in. Not too dark to be demented, not so light to be slapstick. It's exceptionally well done and fine-tuned. Everywhere you go, you can see the moon getting closer. Doomed soldiers lose their formality on the final day. Characters will barter with you for an underground shelter to survive in. There are several encounters with troubled spirits and ghosts. Termina is much a land focused on death as it is focused on people's lives. Link helps people with problems as large as saving their parents from being possessed to something as small as delivering toilet paper to someone. That mission does make me feel good knowing this Deku salesman's deed is being used to wipe someone's ass. Seriously, fuck this guy. I can't count how many times I've accidentally triggered this cutscene. You gotta sit here, you gotta watch him fly on down. Yeah, get your ass down here. Yeah, pop on out, come on, put on your little fucking hat, we get it. For annoying as shit as that guy is, there's still a lot of fun to be had just running around in the world. I love backflipping over this counter, punching the living shit out of this bell, even drawing my sword while I'm changing screens. Even though Termina is a much smaller world than Hyrule, it's densely packed with memorable places. Pinnacle Rock always reminds me of Jolly Roger Bay and Super Mario 64. Can the eel come out to play? Small details go into every environment. These seahorses are so happy down here in their little pit of death. Plenty of rooms are elaborately decorated, taking advantage of the expanded memory card on the N64. These areas are sprinkled throughout the game and always catch my eye, even when the rooms have little function. Seagulls can be seen and heard flying around on the beach. The Zora band members play great remixes of old Zelda songs. I'm pretty sure the Indiegogos have a solid lawsuit to defend their band name too. There's even a mission to play the Ballad of the Windfish, which is a great tip of the hat from the developers. Not only is the world a memorable place, but so are many of the people inside of it. So many of the characters that Link meets have unique personalities and lives. One of the characters that always used to make me cringe was Tingle, but I think I've finally accepted him for what he is. Even if his own father hasn't. The postman sleeps under a giant clock as the schedule controls every aspect of his life. It seems like Lulu can never snap out of her depression for having lost her eggs. Every time I play through this game, I learn that song near the end of the cycle, so then I play the song of time and reset. So it always just feels like these eggs never really get saved. But hey, that's the price you gotta pay to meet the giant turtle from the never-ending story. Like, for reals, it's the giant turtle from the never-ending story. It's even got the fucking tree on its back. Now, if only he could have saved Artex.
You have to care.
That's one horse who gives so few fucks he's willing to die for it. And who are you to try and stop him? Yeah, call your suicidal horse stupid. That'll make him less sad. That's why you need an immortal thunder horse. Just saying. I feel like these soldiers are all assholes and incompetent. They won't let Deku Link out because they say he's a child and he doesn't have a weapon, but they let Child Link out when my sword is at the smithy, so what the fuck? I like how this guard in North Clocktown watches a burglary happen, then just lets the criminal walk right past him.
I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay?
The primary goal of the game is to call 4 giants to help stop the moon. I always felt like the design for these guys was pretty weird. It's like they took the Little Caesars mascot, had him go on a bender, stuck him in a tanning booth for too long, and then just glued him to the top of 100-foot tall legs. Then there's this Deku scrub in Icona Valley whose life goal apparently is to check out the nut brown beauties. I'm gonna have to Google that one. Like other Zelda games, there's a heavy focus on items, and not having the right equipment can lock you out of certain areas. That's what drives the gameplay forward. The main dungeon item in Majora's Mask is the bow and 3 special arrows. Unlike Ocarina of Time, these arrows serve some utility. The fire arrows can melt ice and burn up cobwebs. The ice arrows can freeze water to make platforms. That's a huge improvement from Ocarina of Time, where, yeah, you could freeze some guys with arrows, or just hit them with your fucking sword. Even this gossip stone knew they were underwhelming. In Majora's Mask, you can also freeze some enemies to use them as platforms too. My only complaint is that they're hard to use if you're close to an object sticking out of the water. They seem to hit the object and not freeze the surface. As with other things in this game, a little practice will go a long way. Seems like early on I had a proclivity for getting my ass kicked. I can hear this bee, but then I couldn't see him, then he shows up, starts fucking stinging the shit out of me. I try blocking him, and then he fucking knocks me off the edge into the poison water, and oh fuck, now what am I gonna do? All you can do is swim as fast as fuck back to this platform and try to get out of there, and then you get out of the bee still fucking attacking me, and I only got 1.5 hearts left. I knew I was a little rusty when I was having some trouble fighting this Wolfos. I never had a problem with him in Ocarina of Time. I just figure, oh, I'll back up, then jump, then BAM! What the fucking bat just comes out of nowhere! That just summarizes life some days. Soon enough, the controls become second nature, and the items are logical extensions in combat. Just don't use the hookshot on Bombchus. Shit! This game's hookshot feels just right, too, making Ocarina of Time's hookshot seem, inadequate. Empty bottles are found throughout the game, and you can even find 6 of them. I've already mentioned the magic beans and how they could have been improved. There's 4 swords that you can get, though I wish that we'd progressed through them a little bit better. You get the Razor Sword only for a really small section of the game, so I wish that they'd held out on the gold dust until maybe between the 3rd and the 4th temples. The Great Fairy Sword, it's so late that it's pretty much useless, so I wish it had been a little bit more like the Begoron quests in Ocarina of Time, but all of this is just pretty minor shit. I also wish the Mirror Shield could have kept the Gerudo symbol originally used in Ocarina of Time. While I understand they removed these elements to avoid the use of religious symbolism in the game, I always felt like the crescent moon was used tastefully. And the earlier games borrowed iconography too. The original Zelda has the cross on Link's shield. In the Adventure Link, not only do you see them in graveyards, but it's also an item that you need to see these ghosts. This dungeon in Legend of Zelda is shaped like a swastika because it's an important symbol in Buddhism representing samsara, the endless cycle of death and rebirth. It's also in Hinduism representing Kali, the destroyer of evil, night, motion, and karma. Of course, all of these things predate the modern Western impression. But that's enough history class for today. Generally, I think this looks better than this. Ugh. They also nerfed the shield stab. If you hold R and press B, Link will do a quick stab. In Ocarina of Time, the stab did as much damage as the last attack before shield stabbing did. So if you jumped attacked and then did this, these quick stabs did double damage. Mix that with a Deku Stick, and Goma looked like a little bitch. Majora's Mask, they took away this feature, so now the stab just does normal damage. You can get access to infinite magic once you have Romani's Mask, which lets you buy Chateau Romani. I don't know why, but I rarely used this when the game was new. It makes the Zora sections way easier, but you do have to watch out. I got a little bit of screen burn while I was using it. I guess that's the price you pay for using Forbidden Milk. Z-targeting remains unchanged from Ocarina of Time. It still works really well. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble when I'm talking to NPCs, but I've always loved this camera method way better than Super Mario 64's. Many of the enemies from Ocarina of Time return, and there's also plenty of new enemies too. I feel like these Bayou Deku Babas are scary as fuck for little plants. I'm not sure why these turtles keep telling me to get bent. There's also a lot of great mini-bosses. These geckos are always fun. I love fighting this wart guy for some reason. It's just a chance to use the spin attack like fucking crazy. The last dungeon has a few mini-bosses in a row, like Gomez, this Reaper covered in bats. There's the Garo Master jumping all over the place with flaming swords. I'm kind of impressed they managed to fit a mech monster in here, and it sort of works. I like it. They did go a little overboard with the wizard robes though. You find them in most dungeons and they're not really all that fucking different. It just gets boring fighting these fucking guys over and over. A neat feature of this game is the ability to redo any of the dungeons. When you turn back time, almost everything resets, which gives the game some replay value. You can even skip straight to the bosses and fight them over with your newest gear. Odala is probably the best one to fight since the other 3 bosses are all kind of gimmicky. I hate fighting Goat over and over again. It just takes way too fucking long. Plus, I feel like this guy is cheaty as fuck. But he shoots out an electrical thing, I ricochet off a fucking wall, and it still homes in on me. That means he knew where I was gonna be before he fired it, before I bounced off the wall. That's bullshit. Of course, the coolest mask in the game is the Fierce Deities mask, which is as close to Adult Link as you're gonna get. I don't want to spoil the final boss too much, but Michael Jackson would be proud. What more can I say? This game is fucking good. The time mechanic takes a little bit of getting used to, but this is an adventure you're going to enjoy. Whether you're stealing hotel rooms from people or blowing shit up with your face, this game's got a little bit of everything. If you've got an N64 and the expanded memory card, then this is a must-have. And until next time, keep on playing.